All right, so we are back, and I told you so. Today's video is pretty simple. Ryan Garcia has completely disgraced himself. He has embarrassed himself and, quite frankly, shown his true colors to the world that I've been telling you guys for the last few months was exactly the case. And if you don't know what I mean, Ryan Garcia was, I guess as of 2 days ago, on a live stream or a couple of live streams, spewing out blatantly racist slurs all over the place while intoxicated and just saying some of the wildest shit you'll ever hear. And I'm at that point, and I've been at this point now where I am completely done with saying, Ryan Garcia, we need to help him. He needs help. That's true. He does need professional, serious help. But I'm also just done excusing bad behavior and bad faith, just continuous BS being spewed by this guy because he feels and has always felt like he's above any sort of criticism when he waves around his flag of religion and or the typical "I'm sorry, I didn't mean it" excuses that come behind the vitriolic and just quite frankly terrible things he said. I'm not going to get into the actual verbiage because he said things that no human should say, but this has been a pattern of behavior for Ryan. It is the typical narcissistic, how much can I get away with doing and saying before finally people catch on and say, yeah, we can't rock with this. You're a scumbag and a piece of shit. I know there'll be people in this comment section that'll say, Wade, you're just a hater. He needs help, da-da-da. And I'm sorry if that sounds a little too mean-spirited for me to say, but this is a guy that's walked right up to the line, crossed it many times. Even before this, let's not forget, just a couple of weeks ago, he was flaunting the false allegation that he had Caleb Plant's wife. Again, excuse my language, these are his words, over and over and over. You don't have to go back much further than that to hear him shroud himself in the religious above all else blanket, and anytime his actions were questioned, he would just throw that one out there. Well, this time, he couldn't do that. This time, aided by Ryan's torment, as he puts it, and or whatever it is that he's going through internally, externally. Listen, everybody has problems in life, and again, people should get help for those. But Ryan, when those things arise, seems to point the finger at everybody but himself, and it gets to a point where you can't excuse it anymore. We need to move on from Ryan Garcia, at least until he can get his act cleared up, at least until he can get things put into perspective and really go on a soul-searching mission here, because as of today, you see the WBC and Mauricio Suleiman have expelled Ryan from any activity within their organization. You have to think if the WBC is going to do it, other committees and councils are going to do the same. You wonder if boxing commissions are going to do the same, and I know there will be people out here that say, Wade, where is this energy for people that commit domestic violence crimes or all of the other things that go on in a bad man sport and say mean things in a sport? And again, yes, fighting is a sport where mean things are said to each other, but there's a line, and Ryan crossed it, and I will hold the same energy, and I have, for people that do things outside of the sport that are, one, illegal, or two, cross the same lines that Ryan Garcia did. And the thing that bothers me the most, and I don't know about you guys, is this idea from Ryan that continues to circulate when he does stupid and bad things, that a tweet or an apology will make it all go away. I saw today he's on Twitter, and again, I'm not going to go through the specifics of what Ryan said. He was blatantly racist toward black people, and then starts tweeting and getting on Instagram and talking about how he grew up with black people, and people were racist to me first, and just is throwing out all these different excuses and saying things that have nothing to do with any sort of contrition and apology, which is absolutely needed, with any sort of genuine taste or text to it. He's doing these things, he's saying these things after people got very, very upset with him, after he pushed up to that line and walked right onto it and then crossed it, looked around, and people took notice. It wasn't one of those times where people just allowed him to say it, and I was like, okay, well, that's Brian, he's a little bit out there. No, people noticed, and now he's trying to run apology tours because he pushed past the point where he could get away with it. And again, as a fan of the sport of boxing, I'm kind of just want to move on from all of it. This will be the last video, by the way, that I do on Ryan Garcia, because it's not worth the effort to talk about. It's sad. It's sad to watch a guy with Ryan's just natural ability and the way he can wow you in a ring, to see him completely falter and just show some really, really dark character traits, and honestly, a weak character when the light is shined on him and responsibility is asked of him. That is something I don't want to see from him anymore. I don't want to hear from Ryan Garcia anymore. I'd rather focus on the things that are great in the sport of boxing, the people that aren't doing these sort of things. It feels like Ryan has dominated the headlines for worse and worse and worse reasons every single time we talk about him, and I think it's just to the point now where I'm fatigued with it. This is the only reason I'm covering this is because it's pretty much the final straw for Ryan. I would be surprised if we see him in a boxing ring in a very long time, and honestly, I think that's for the best. Because all you do by allowing him to continue to box at this point is reward this type of behavior and reward him for, again, pushing right up to that line and then running right past it with no regard for anything at all. And listen, if Ryan wants to be this bigoted individual and you know, spew all this racist stuff and just say things that are just completely foul and not becoming of anyone. People talked about free speech online. Cool, go do that, right? Go whatever you want to do. But what you can't convince me of, and what in my opinion is not free speech, is blatantly doing this type of stuff, those kind of remarks, the type of behavior Ryan Garcia showed, and then acting like you can throw up the free speech card and get an immunity pass from every organization that sanctions the thing that you do. No, that's not how this works. Because you, as Ryan Garcia, are a reflection on the sport of boxing. You're a reflection on the WBC. When you are sanctioned by these organizations, these committees, these councils, you're a reflection of them. So when he acts the way he does, it's just a complete disgrace for himself and everybody associated with him. And like I said, yes, Ryan does need some professional help, because it is clear that he has barricaded himself so far away from reality and sheltered himself behind his religion, behind his social status, behind his fame, behind his win against Devin Haney, that he has not and will not take any responsibility for the things he says or does, and he needs help learning how to do that. I'm not going to sit here and say he needs help because, you know, the trauma and all this. No. Celebrities, normal people, everybody has trauma. Everybody has something that's happened to them, and some people worse than others, and I understand and give grace toward that. But there's just a certain point where you have to accept responsibility for being a scumbag, and that's what Ryan Garcia has been. If he can change that, then okay. We'll see in the future, but it needs to be a very, very long time before Ryan gets the liberty and the privilege of stepping into that squared circle. That is a hallowed ground for this sport and should be respected to the utmost degree. I think that this is the time where we as a community, I hope as a sport, separate from Ryan Garcia for now until he can find a way to accept some responsibility and become a better representation of this sport. And like I said, it's frustrating because he is massively talented, and I just don't know what to say about this guy other than it's just disappointing and again, disgraceful. He says he's checking himself into rehab, but at the same time, I don't know that any of this is genuine. I don't know that any of this even matters, because in one hand, he's like, I'm going to go to rehab and I'm going to, you know, get help with my mental health and substance abuse. And then the other, he's like, well, no, this is how I talked in my neighborhood and I grew up this way. And it just looks like a kid with his hand caught in a cookie jar. It doesn't look authentic. It shows no contrition. And it's done for this era of social media where everyone's like, oh shit, I'm going to lose fans. Let me say something that keeps the one side that I kind of need and tries to half apologize while also getting one side to feel bad for me. That's what this feels like, but regardless, the point I'm trying to make here is Ryan absolutely should be ashamed of himself. I don't know that he is, and I don't know if he'll ever get to that point. But I'm so sick and tired of seeing this guy, of talking about this guy, because every time we do, it's something else that he's done that either makes him, his fans, or the sport look utterly ridiculous. And it's never a good thing because he can't keep himself together outside of the ring. Go off, get the help you need, but until then, I'm done with this shit. Ryan is, like I said, a flat-out disgrace. I told you guys this was coming. Question is, will he ever recover this? Will he be able to turn this around? I hope so, because again, he is a great talent in the ring, and everybody does deserve chances to right their wrongs and become a better person or whatever, but I'm just done with this. So I don't really care what happens with Ryan Garcia right now, but I guess we'll find out.